The bone that redefined humanity in the harsh, unforgiving world of our ancestors. There was a simple, brutal law: if you couldn't run, you didn't survive. Nature doesn't have a retirement plan. And it certainly doesn't have a safety net. For millions of years, the story of life on Earth was defined by a relentless forward momentum. To stop was to die. To be injured was to be left behind. Whether you were a gazelle on the savannah or a predator in the brush, a broken leg was a death sentence. It meant you couldn't hunt, you couldn't forage. And you certainly couldn't escape the things that wanted to eat you. Yet, tucked away in the archaeological record, we find something that defies the cold logic of the wild. It isn't a crown, a sword, or a monumental temple. It's a femur, a human thigh bone, that had been broken and then, miraculously, healed. At first glance, a piece of old bone might not seem like much of a clue. But to an anthropologist, a healed femur is the first sign of true civilization. You see, in the animal kingdom, if you break your leg, you're finished. The bone takes weeks, even months, to knit back together. During that time, you need water, you need food, and you need protection from predators. If you are alone, you simply cannot survive long enough for that bone to mend. This single, calcified lump of bone tells us that 15,000 years ago, someone fell. They heard the sickening crack, felt the white-hot flash of pain, and realized they were suddenly, utterly helpless. In any other species, that would be the end of the story. But for this individual, something different happened. Someone else decided that this person's life was worth more than the collective speed of the tribe. This is where the real story of humanity begins. Not with the first tool, or the first word, but with the first act of long-term, selfless care. Think about what it took to help that person survive. It meant the tribe had to stop. They had to stay in one place, making themselves vulnerable to predators. They had to carry water to the injured person every day. They had to share their hard-won food, knowing that the person they were feeding couldn't contribute to the hunt. They had to keep watch through the long, dark nights, protecting someone who couldn't even stand up to defend themselves. This wasn't a quick gesture of pity, it was a commitment that lasted months. It was a choice to value a human life over the efficiency of the group. It suggests that even in the depths of the Ice Age, our ancestors understood something profound, that we are stronger together than we are apart. And that our greatest evolutionary advantage isn't our upright gait or our dexterous thumbs, it's our empathy. We often think of survival of the fittest as a competition of strength, a race to the top where the weak are discarded. But the healed femur whispers a different truth. It suggests that we didn't just survive because we were the smartest or the fastest hunters. We survived because we learned how to look after one another. We learned how to bridge the gap between me and us. When we look back at the vast timeline of human history, it's easy to get lost in the rise and fall of empires or the brilliance of technological breakthroughs. But if you want to find the heartbeat of what makes us human, you have to look at the quiet moments of ancient compassion. The healed femur is a reminder that civilization isn't just about buildings or laws. It's a social contract written in the marrow of our bones. It's the realization that when one of us falls, the rest of us stop to pick them up. In a world that can often feel cold and indifferent, perhaps the most human thing we can do is remember that our story began not with a fight, but with a healing.